Hello, I would like to introduce you guys to Dr. Daniel Twogood today, and today we're going to be talking a little bit about chronic pain in his new book. Well, to start it off, can you give us a little information about yourself?
Sure. I am Dr. Dan Twogood, that is my name. I've been practicing since 1982, so that's 30 years, so I've seen a few things. The reason I wrote books is because I started seeing things in practice that I hadn't seen before, and I hadn't learned in school. And so I thought, well, what is this? And so back in, after I started seeing it back in 1991, when I heard Ethen was born,
1991.
I wrote my first book, which was called No Milk, and it's about chronic pain, believe it or not, because most pain is caused by a protein that's in milk. But then as I learned more, I wrote other books, and I've just finished my last one, and I gave a copy to Ethen here.
This is his book right here.
And it's called Chronic Pain Gone 90 Days. And the title is self-explanatory. Basically, it's about chronic pain and how you can get rid of it in 90 days. And that's, by the way, not by buying any special products or expensive items. If anybody tells you that there's a miracle product on the market that's going to eliminate chronic pain or get rid of headaches, it doesn't exist. So my book is a 10-step program about how to get rid of chronic pain, and it's a real easy to read, and it explains exactly what causes chronic pain and how to get rid of it.
And this is his book right here, one more time for you guys. Chronic Pain Gone in 90 Days. And he just gives you guys a brief, in-depth explanation of how it can't be gone. And the main cause of chronic pain is what?
Is the diet.
The diet?
And that's something that people aren't aware of. You know, chronic pain and pain are two different things. You know, everybody knows about pain. You know, you've bonked your head and stubbed your toes and all those kinds of things. And we know that if you get some kind of regular treatment for it, like go to the chiropractor a few times or take some aspirin or use some heat or some ice, it goes away in a reasonable period of time. And so you're used to that. Chronic pain, though, on the other hand, doesn't go away. It just keeps on keeping on. And so the question is, why aren't you healing? Well, a lot of people believe that it's because you're physically doing something, and so, you know, you'll go on disability and you'll stop working and the pain persists. Why is that? Because chronic pain is a chemical phenomenon, not a physical phenomenon. Physical activity will aggravate chronic pain, but chronic pain is a chemical thing that's caused by specific substances in foods, food additives, medications, and supplements. And that's what the book is about. Believe it or not, there's only a handful of things that cause chronic pain, specific substances in the diet, and that's what my book is about. So I've been talking to Ethen a little bit about it, and he's kind of blown away by some of the foods that he thought were healthy, and now he's finding that they may not be so.
And I think this is relevant to everybody out there because these are foods that are eaten by so many people, and everyone should have this knowledge. And today you guys are going to be lucky enough to get that knowledge. So if we could just start off by giving them a little insight to what kind of foods cause chronic pain.
Okay, well the first book,
or what kind of products.
Okay, it's specific things. Back in 1991, back in 85, I saw a patient who told me that he had chronic backaches and migraines until he stopped drinking milk. I thought he was out of his mind. I'd never heard of anything like that. And because milk, you know, milk does a body good, right? We've been told that for years. Cow's milk. And so I asked him what the heck he was talking about, and he told me about how he went to doctors for years and wasn't getting better. Went to chiropractors, orthopedists, all kinds of doctors, wasn't getting better. And the only thing they could tell him was his cholesterol was high. And so he decided to work on his cholesterol by changing his diet. And when he changed his diet, his pain went away. And so I said, well, you know, do you think it was related to your cholesterol or what? And he says, no, it was the milk, because he had quit drinking milk and eating milk products, because it's all milk products, ladies and gentlemen. It's ice cream, it's ranch dressing, it's blue cheese, it's cheese, etc. That were causing his pain. He found that out because he quit eating those foods because they're high in cholesterol, and after he started to feel better, he went back to eating these foods, and every time he ate a dairy food, he said his back went out. I thought he was out of his mind, but I started checking it out, and over the years I saw that it was true. And so in 1991 I wrote a book about how milk and dairy foods cause most back pain, neck pain, and headaches, and that was called No Milk. Of course, since then I've learned a whole bunch more. There are other substances too that can cause pain, acne, digestive upset, fibromyalgia, rheumatoid arthritis, migraine headaches. You know, these are all diseases that are chronic and that doctors can't fix. You know, the Huffington Post just came out with a report that said that 47% of all Americans suffer with some form of chronic pain.
47%. That could be your brother or sister, grandma or mother.
That's a lot of people. And so a lot of people complain when they see what substances they have to eliminate from their diet. But what I tell people is, listen, if you're one of the 53% who feels good, who may have had a problem but you got treatment and now you feel better, you don't need to read my book. You're fine. You can go outside and play. But you know, if you're one of the 47%, you know how frustrating it is to continue to go to doctors and all they're doing is medicating you or giving you the same treatment over and over and over again. And in those cases, you know it's not working. So you realize you have to try a different approach. The mentality in this country is that if you have something wrong with you, there's got to be something you can take to get better. It's a pill, a supplement, a protein shake, an airplane overhead, you know, all kinds of things. What can you take to get rid of your problem? The truth is that most chronic pain, all chronic pain, is caused by specific substances that you need to eliminate, not that you need to add. For example, do you smoke, Ethan?
I don't.
Good. Imagine if you were a lung doctor and a guy came into your office and he has a cough and he says, "Hey, Ethen, Dr. Ethen, do you have something I can take to get rid of my cough?" And of course you're going to look at him and then you see the pack of cigarettes here in his pocket or in his sleeve and you go, "Well, you know, Joe, I have some cough suppressants you could use, but you know what? If you stopped smoking instead, you would stop coughing." So that's the approach that I take. Instead of looking to doctors and health food stores, etc., to find out what exactly it is you need to take, then you know instead it's like, what do I need to stop doing to myself to heal myself? So the very first thing I saw was milk and dairy foods causing pain. And it took me a while to figure it out, and I don't want everybody to become a chemist, but there's a chemical, there's a protein in milk, a specific protein called casein. And casein is the protein that causes the inflammation, that causes chronic pain. So the reason that casein is significant is because all dairy foods have casein except for one. Butter has no casein because butter is only milk fat. There is no protein. So you can eat real butter and not get exposure to casein. What about margarine? Margarine does not have any milk protein in it at all. Now it's not healthy for you, but you can use it and avoid the milk protein casein, except for one. There's one brand and it's called, I Can't Believe It's Not Butter, and they have a product in there called sodium caseinate.
I can't believe it's not butter.
That's because it is. But the reason the casein is significant, and I'm going to show you these names before the program is over so that you understand them and can identify them. Casein is the main protein in milk and dairy foods. It's not in butter, but it is in some non-dairy foods. Like if you use these flavored coffee creamers like French vanilla and amaretto and Irish cream, etc., Cremora Coffee Mate, all of these non-dairy coffee creamers contain sodium caseinate. And I'll show you how that's spelled at the end of the show. But that again is the milk protein, and that causes the inflammatory reaction that causes most fibromyalgia, most arthritis, most headaches, most acne, most irritable bowel syndrome, and all kinds of diseases. So we'll be showing you some pictures so that you can get a drift of how inflammatory diseases can happen from these substances. So, and then I have one more bit of bad news, and that is that anybody who reacts to dairy foods, they also react to chocolate. Chocolate is the killer. If I see anybody in severe pain who didn't do anything, you can bet they ate chocolate. And that kind of goes against what people have heard lately. You know, chocolate tastes really good.
Chocolate's supposed to make you healthier, supposedly.
Right. What a lot of researchers have said is that chocolate has a lot of antioxidants in it. And but I would challenge people and say, listen, if you're eating chocolate and you feel wonderful, don't worry about it. But if you suffer from headaches, panic attacks, depression, mood changes, anything like that, or back pain or neck pain or headaches, try getting off of chocolate for a while and you'll see the difference. And then you'll really be convinced when that fateful day arrives, usually around Halloween or Christmas or Easter or Valentine's Day, and you haven't had chocolate for a long time and you forget all about it and you have some. when you see the reaction, you'll finally be convinced. You'll get a migraine, you'll get back pain or whatever. If you're one of those people who have a sensitivity to it, if you're among those 47%.
And I know you guys know someone that eats chocolate.
Right.
So think about that. It's relevant to you and to me.
Right. So the new book has 10 steps in it. I made it very easy to read. The words are separated by big gaps, so you can read a sentence, get the idea, then there's a big gap, you can move on to the next one. The book is an instruction manual about how to get rid of chronic pain. And it starts off with the 10 things that you need to know. And 7 of them are things to not do, and 3 of them are things to do. And so really, if you follow those 10 things, if you have chronic pain, if you're one of those 47%, no matter what your diagnosis is, you'll get relief, and it'll happen within 90 days. It's not a miracle, it's just science. It's just inflammation being caused by specific substances, and if you eliminate them, your problems will go away.
Strategic implementation. Eliminating what is unhealthy to you. Think about that, guys, and try to implement that in your life, and just see it, test it, give it a chance. If you're experiencing chronic pain, you need to put that to a stop. And I think that Mr. Twogood has a legitimate step-by-step manual for you guys to follow to get rid of that. Chronic pain gone in 90 days. Okay, here we go. We're just going to give you guys some examples.
Now I want to show you, if Ethen here had headaches, and we were able to find out that it was caused by dairy foods or MSG or aspartame or some of the other substances I'm going to show you can cause chronic pain. If he had a headache, you wouldn't be able to tell, right? You know, you'd have to take his word for it. And if we said, guess what, he has eliminated dairy foods or chocolate or whatever we figured out was causing his headaches, and his headaches are gone, there's no proving it, right? You know, he could be lying. We could be fibbing to all of you. But there are some things that are visible, and the skin reactions are one of them. I'm going to give this picture to Ethen, and you can hold that up to the camera.
Check this out, guys.
And that is a chronic skin condition called psoriasis. And if any of you have ever had psoriasis, you know how debilitating, how painful, how embarrassing, how all of it is. Now, this patient came in back in 1992 complaining of knee pain and psoriasis. We went over everything, and I changed his diet. And 1 month after changing his diet, I'll give Ethen the next picture.
This is 1 month after changing his diet.
1 month after changing his diet.
Look at that.
His psoriasis looked like that. And then he continued, and the trigger, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, was the milk protein casein. Once he got off of it completely, his psoriasis cleared up, just like a normal case would. Now I'm going to give the last picture to Ethen, and this is the one taken 2 months after he stopped completely eating all dairy foods.
This is 2 months after. Look at that. Wow. Is that a noticeable difference? I think so.
Now to complete the proof on that particular case, to this day, Dave is his name, if he eats a dairy food, he'll get a psoriatic lesion, we call it, on his elbow. And it'll last for about a week and then go away. So he definitely knows that the trigger for his psoriasis is milk protein. And I've seen many, many cases since then. Now, as we go down the list, in the beginning I used to think that all chronic pain was caused by dairy foods, milk protein and chocolate. Casein, caseinate, and chocolate, the ones we've talked about. But since then I've learned that there are other substances that also cause chronic pain. Not nearly as common as dairy foods and chocolate, but the next one down the list is a chemical flavor enhancer called monosodium glutamate. We call it MSG, and many of you have heard of it. Ethen hadn't heard of it, but when I told him it was in Top Ramen, he was a little bit surprised. If you've ever eaten Top Ramen, one of the cheapest
college students,
it's one of the cheapest and tastiest foods on the planet, and a lot of people are unfortunately eating it. It's in that, you know, you have the dry noodles, and then it has that little flavor packet that you put in there. That small package.
Chicken, shrimp.
Right. That is almost pure MSG, which is a nerve toxin. It's toxic to the nervous system, and it can cause symptoms like headaches, panic attacks, mood changes. One of the weird symptoms to MSG that I've seen many times is a little bruises about the size of a dime